So are you also still extracting details from surveys manually? Then this video is definitely for you. So hello all, welcome back to Pabbly Connect, and in this video we are going to understand how to use AI to extract insights from surveys in Google Sheets. So over here, I am a retail operations manager and we receive surveys and feedback of our customers regularly, and we were extracting the details from them manually. But this is such a time consuming and a tedious task. So to solve this problem, I've simply created this automation where what is going to happen is that as soon as we receive a new feedback from our customer, automatically my AI agent, which is OpenAI, is going to extract the insights, and further we are going to add those insights into our Google Sheets. And to do this, we are simply going to create a connection between Google Forms My AI agent, which is OpenAI, and then Google Sheets. And to create this connection without knowing any programming or coding language, we are going to use Pabbly Connect. It is an amazing automation software. So do you also want to create this amazing automation for your own business? Then for that you have to come with me towards my screen.
Welcome to my screen. So in this video, I'll show you how to use an AI agent to extract insights from surveys in Google Sheets. So whether it's customer feedback, satisfaction ratings, or service suggestions, the AI will summarize the key pattern, trends, and improvement areas, saving you time and giving you an instant clarity. So let's turn raw survey data into these smart decisions. And over here, you're going to see a summary like this would be generated and added in front of your response received with the help of my AI agent. So let's test this. So as you can see that I've already filled in this service feedback form, which is name testing user. You can see the email, the store location visited. Over here you can see how satisfied you were with the product, the rating of the experience, what did you like about the visit, would you like to be contacted, and the rest of the form details. So now I'm simply going to submit this form right over here, and yes, you can see that I've successfully submitted this form, and you can see the details of this submission has been captured right over here in my spreadsheet. Not only this, you can see that the summary has also been added. You can see my AI generated the summary and added right over here into the Google Sheets, which is testing user had an overall satisfaction level of 4. Based on their product and experience ratings, they visited our store in Delhi and appreciated the store layout and convenient parking. However, they found that there was delay in assistance and the billing counter was understaffed. Despite these area of improvement, they would like to recommend the store. So you can see the summary of the survey, or you can see the feedback has been generated and added right over here automatically without any manual efforts in real time. As soon as my customer filled in this service feedback form, automatically the summary was added right over here in real time without any manual efforts. So yes, this is the automation we are going to create in today's video. And if you also want to create this amazing automation for your business, then for that you have to watch this tutorial till the end. So to do this, we are simply going to open a new tab and we're going to open the landing page of our Pabbly Connects account. So to do this, I'm simply going to search for it, which is www.pabbly.com/connect. So I'm just going to search for it, which is www.pabbly.com and then /connect. And after searching this, I'm simply going to open the landing page of my Pabbly Connects account. So over here you can see that this is the landing page of Pabbly Connect. And now after opening the landing page of Pabbly Connect, we are getting two options. One is sign in and the another one is sign up for free. So if you are a new user, you can click on this sign up for free and you are going to get 100 of tasks free every month to explore the application. But over here I am an existing user, so I'm simply going to click on this sign in, and as soon as we are going to click on this sign in, it is opening all Pabbly apps, and over here you can see all the tools and applications offered by Pabbly. But in today's video we are going to use Pabbly Connect because we are connecting different applications. So I'm simply going to click on this access now right over here to access my Pabbly Connects account, and as soon as we are going to click on this access now, it is opening our dashboard. And to start with this automation, we simply have to click on this button which says create workflow. And now it is asking me for the workflow name and the folder I want to save the workflow in. So over here I want to save the workflow in this folder which says automations. And on my dashboard you can see multiple folders which I have already created in which I save my workflows. So if you also want to create a new folder or a subfolder, you can click on this hyperlink given right over here which says learn more and learn how to create folders and subfolders in your Pabbly Connects account. I have already created my folders and I've also selected my folder right over here which is automations. So now I'm simply going to name my workflow as this: how to use AI to extract insights from surveys in Google Sheets. And then we are simply going to click on this create, and as soon as we are going to click on this create, it is opening the most important window of our automation, which is our workflow window. So this is the most important window because we have trigger and action in this. Trigger and actions are the two main principles on which our workflow is going to run. Trigger means when this happens and action means do this. So by this you can understand that the actions are response towards the commands given by our trigger, and that's the particular reason that we can have only a single trigger but multiple actions following the commands of our trigger in a particular workflow. And to get started, we are simply going to select our trigger application. So for my trigger application, I'm simply going to search for Google Forms, and then we are going to select Google Forms. So I'm just going to search for Google Forms, and then we are simply going to select it right over here. And now it is asking me for the trigger event. So for the trigger event, I'm simply going to select it as new response received. And now it is giving me a webhook URL. So we are going to use this same webhook URL in order to create a connection between our Google Forms and our Pabbly Connects workflow. So what we have to do is we simply have to copy this webhook URL, and then we have to follow this help text, and it is saying log into your Google Form account on which you want to take the submission and make the last question as required for the trigger. So you have to keep in mind that the last question of your Google Form should be required. Over here you can see that I've already set it up, this last question as required. So it is a really important step to make the last question as required so that you can trigger this flow with the help of this same form. Alright, so I've already read this, and now we are going to move on further. It is saying navigate to the response tab, click on the create spreadsheet icon to generate the new spreadsheet to store the form responses. So over here you have to go towards this response tab, and over here you're going to see all the responses, and over here you are also going to see the button of link with sheets or create a spreadsheet. But I've already linked this form with my Google Sheets and I've already created a spreadsheet, so that's why it is giving me the option of view in Sheets. So I'm simply going to click on this option, so it is directly going to open my Google Sheets, and over here this is the sheet in which the responses are going to get captured. Alright, so we are going to use this sheet only in order to create a connection between our Google Forms and our Pabbly Connects workflow. So what we have to do is we have to open the same spreadsheet, and from here we have to go towards this extensions, add-ons, and then towards this get add-ons. And over here we have to add an extension in this spreadsheet which is Pabbly Connect Webhooks. So we simply have to search for Pabbly Connect Webhooks, and as you can see the same, so we are simply going to select it. So as you can see that I've already installed this extension, so it is giving me the option of uninstall. But if you haven't installed this extension, you are going to get the option of install right over here, and you can simply install this extension right from here. And once you are going to install the extension, you simply have to refresh your spreadsheet, and it is a really important step to refresh the spreadsheet, otherwise you'll not be able to get the Pabbly Connect webhook options right over here in your extension tabs. And now after going over here towards this Pabbly Connect webhooks, you have to go towards this initial setup, and after opening this initial setup you're going to get two options to enter the webhook URL and the trigger column. So now what we have to do is we simply have to paste the webhook URL which we copied from our workflow. We have to paste it right over here, and now for the trigger column we have to enter the final data column on which if the data is going to be added, the whole of that row will be sent towards my webhook URL. So for me the trigger column is J, so I'm simply going to enter J right over here. So now you know that this was the reason why we made the last question as the required one, so that we can trigger the workflow with the help of the same only. So as you can see that I've successfully selected my trigger column as J right over here. You have to select this trigger column according to your spreadsheet. spreadsheet. And after selecting the trigger column and entering the webhook URL, we are simply going to click on this button which says submit. And as soon as we are going to click on this submit, it is saying setup configured successfully. So with this, we have successfully created a connection between our Google Forms account and our Pabbly Connect's workflow. But now it is saying waiting for a webhook response. And in the notes, it is saying do a test submission / record. So in order to capture this webhook response, we have to do a test submission or record. So what we have to do is we simply have to open the spreadsheet, and from here we have to go towards this extensions Pabbly Connect webhooks, and we have to switch on this button which is send on event. And upon switching on this button, what is going to happen is that as soon as a new event is going to occur in the spreadsheet, automatically the details would be sent towards the webhook URL. Alright, so as you can see that I've successfully switched on this button. It is a really important step to switch on this button, otherwise the details will not be sent towards the webhook URL and the workflow will not run in real time. So now after switching on this button, we are going to do the test submission, and in order to do this test submission, I'm just going to open my Google Forms and we are going to click on this preview form button. So I'm just going to do the test submission. For that, I'm simply going to enter the name as smart user. For the email, I'm just going to keep it as smart@pabblytudes.com. I'm just going to enter the location visited, which is Pune. We are going to move on forward. It is saying how satisfied were you with the product. So I'm just going to select it as 5 right over here. It is saying rating of the experience. I'm just going to select it. What did you like about the visit? So I'm just going to enter the same, which is this. The store was easy to locate and the billing was quick. It is saying would you be like to be contacted for further feedback? I'm just going to keep it as no. It is saying how can we improve? So I'm just going to enter the details. Maybe extend the store hours during the weekends and add more product variety in the organic section. It is saying would you like to recommend the store? So I'm just going to keep it as yes and click on this submit. And as soon as we're going to click on this submit, yes, you can see that your response has been recorded. So with this, we have successfully did the test submission, and now Google Form has sent the details of our test submission to our workflow. And yes, over here you can see Pabbly has captured the response. You can see all the details are exactly the same which we entered. You can see the store location visited, the name and the rest of the details. So yes, with this we have successfully completed our trigger step. And now we are going to move on towards our action step to extract the insights from these surveys. And to do this, we are simply going to select our action application as OpenAI, which is my AI agent. So I'm simply going to search for OpenAI and then we are going to select it. And now for the action event, we are simply going to select it as ChatGPT and click on this connect. And now it is asking me to add a new connection or select an existing connection. So if you have already connected your OpenAI account with your Pabbly Connect's workflow, you can simply click on this select existing connection and then save. But if you haven't, you have to follow me. Click on add a new connection and now it is asking me for the token. So it is saying kindly visit your OpenAI API key page to get the API key that you need to enter here. So we simply have to enter the OpenAI API key page API key right over here. And to get this API key, we simply have to open this hyperlink given right over here. And now it is opening my OpenAI API key page. And over here you can see all the API key which we have already created. But I'm just going to create a new. For that, I'm just going to click on this create secret key button. And now I'm just going to name my key as survey insights. And yes, you can see that I've successfully named my key as survey insights. And now it is asking me to select the project. So I'm simply going to select my project and click on this create secret key button. And yes, over here you can see that this is my secret key. So I'm simply going to copy this secret key and we're going to paste it right over here in our workflow. And after pasting this API key, we simply have to click on this button which says save. And yes, with this we have successfully connected our OpenAI account with our Pabbly Connect's workflow. And now it is asking me to select the AI model. So I'm simply going to select my AI model as GPT-4. You can select any another of your choice. And now it is asking me to enter the prompt. So I'm simply going to enter my prompt right over here. So yes, over here you can see that I've successfully entered my prompt. And now I'm just going to attach the feedback which we have received so that we can generate the summary or insight for the same. Alright, so I'm just going to enter the name and the rest of the details which we have received in the response of our Google Forms. But we are not going to enter the details manually, but instead we are going to map it. So you must be wondering, what is mapping? So mapping is a method by Pabbly which means inserting the data from the previous step. And as you know, our previous step was the trigger step where we selected Google Forms as our trigger application. So we are simply going to map the details from the response of our trigger application only. And as soon as we are going to map these details automatically, my details will turn dynamic and change with every new response received. Alright, so first I'm simply going to map the name. So I'm just going to look for name right over here and map it. Next I'm just going to map the email address. So I'm just going to look for email address and map it. Next I'm just going to map the store location. So I'm just going to look for store location and map it. We are going to move further and map the rest of the details. So I'm just going to map how satisfied you were with the product and then the experience rating too right over here. Now we're going to move in further and map this. What did you like about the visit? So I'm just going to map this also right over here. We are going to move in further and map the rest of the details too. And yes, you can see that with this we have successfully mapped all of these details. And after mapping all of these details, we are simply going to generate the summary. For that we have to click on this save and send test request. And as soon as we are going to click on the save and send test request button, automatically my AI agent has generated me the summary. It is saying name smart user was extremely satisfied with their visit to the Pune store, giving a perfect product and experience rating of 5. They enjoyed the store's ease, localability and the quick billing process. They suggested that the store could improve by extending its operation hours during weekends and adding more variety to the organic section. They would recommend the store to others. So yes, over here you can see the insight of the same has been generated, and now we are going to attach the same into our Google Sheets. And in order to do this, we are simply going to add another action step, and then for the action application I'm simply going to select it as Google Sheets. So I'm just going to search for Google Sheets and select it. And now for the action event, we are simply going to select it as update cell value, because I want to update this cell value which is K4. I want to add the summary right over here, right? So I'm just going to update this cell value. So for that only we have selected the action event as update cell value, and now we are simply going to click on this connect. And now it is asking me to add a new connection or select an existing connection. So if you have already connected your Google Sheets account with your Pabbly Connect's workflow, you can simply click on this select existing connection and then save. But if you haven't, you have to follow me, click on add a new connection, and now we have to click on this blue button which says sign in with Google. And now it is asking me to select my Gmail account. So I'm simply going to select my Gmail account right over here. Now after selecting my Gmail account, Pabbly is asking me for some permissions. So I'm simply going to click on this allow and give Pabbly all the permissions it is asking for, because my data is secure with Pabbly. You can also click on this allow, Pabbly is safe. And as soon as we are going to click on this allow, yes, you can see with this we have successfully connected our Google Sheets account with our Pabbly Connect's workflow. And now it is asking me to select the spreadsheet. So over here you can see the name of my spreadsheet is service feedback for retail chain store responses. So we are going to select the same, and for the sheet we are going to select it as form responses 1. And after selecting both of these details, we are going to move on further. It is asking me for the range. So it is saying enter the range of the sheet that needs to be updated here. So as you can see, the range which needs to be updated is K4. So I'm simply going to enter K4 right over here. But we are not going to enter it manually, but instead we are going to map it. So over here you can see what is going to happen is that right now I want to update this K4. But for the next response, I would update K5, then 6, 7. So you can see the K is constant, but the row is changing. So what we are going to do is I'm just going to keep K as static right over here, because I want to keep the K as constant. Alright, but I want to change the rows right over here. So that's why we are going to map the rows index right over here, so that we can change the row and keep it as dynamic but keep the K as static. So I'm just going to look for row index and map this 4. Now we're going to move on further. It is asking me for the value that needs to be updated here. So we are simply going to map the response of this, which is our AI agent. So here you can see the insight from our AI agent. I'm simply going to map it right over here. And after mapping this response, we are simply going to click on the save and send test request button given right over here. And yes, now with this we have successfully received a positive response that we have successfully added this into our Google Sheets. So I'm simply going to open my Google Sheets and check for the insight added. And yes, over here, I'm just going to look for the value which we updated. And yes, you can see the summary has been added. You can see the same content which my AI agent generated. So yes, with this, we have successfully completed this workflow. And now what is going to happen is that as soon as someone fills out this Google form automatically, with the help of the same details, my AI agent is going to generate the insights and add that into my Google spreadsheet, that too without any manual effort. And this workflow is going to run in backend. We don't have to come back in again to our workflow to click on save and send test request. Like I showed you in the real-time example, automatically upon submission of this form, the workflow is going to get triggered and the insight is going to be added into my Google Sheets so that my team can review it further. So now if you have any questions related to the video or the workflow, you can directly comment on this video. And for your reference, I'll just clone this workflow and share the workflow link in the description box so that you can access my workflow and go and try this amazing automation for your own business too. And now I'm just going to see you in the next video with many more automation tips, everyone. Thank you for watching.
So not only these applications, but with the help of Pabbly Connect, you can integrate many more applications. So if you have any doubts, you can reach us at support@pabbly.com. If you have any queries, you can reach us at forum.pabbly.com. And if you have any pricing related issues, you can follow this website. And if you find our videos helpful, do like and subscribe our channel. Thank you for watching.